Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is nice to be together. So in our spirit of basically learning together all day, as Rabbi Witkowski just did for us twice, we're going to continue to learn together in this smaller, more intimate crowd. So we're going to talk a little bit about Musaf. Where does Musaf come from? What is this service that we do? So I'll throw it to you before I tell you what we might do, unless you answer the question for me. So what is Musaf? Let's start with the word Musaf. What does the word Musaf mean? Additional. I knew adding on. So why do we add on? What are we adding on here? There's no right or wrong answer. Let's just take, what do you think we're adding on here? Yeah, Avia. We're adding on, say that letter. Extra sacrifice. Okay, nice. I'm going to dispel that for you in a bit. Okay, what else are we adding on? Extra praise. There's one. So in the Kedusha, there's one thing that we add on that we then say an extra time on Shabbat because we're adding it on. The Kedusha, but within the Kedusha, we also say the Shema an extra time. Where do we get this extra Shema from that we say? So within the Kedusha, we say the Shema an extra time. So we generally think of it, and actually for a while I thought of it as an extra sacrifice, but there actually is no extra sacrifice that is given. And this is sort of a myth that basically in the biblical time of sacrifices, if you were not in Jerusalem, then you would pray at the same time that the sacrifices were given in different places. And you would pray at the time that a sacrifice was given. And that was the Musaf. That was the additional, well, Rabbi Cooper's given me a real, what? It happens to you all the time. So basically, there was a group of people. They were called the Ma'amad, and they would go and they would pray at the same time as sacrifices were given, which is basically what we do now. At the same, like during Mincha, we would say we'll now say the Mincha silent Amidah that does replace the sacrifice. But for Musaf, it was actually that we were praying at the same time as the sacrifice and adding in an additional Shema, which we actually do 3 times during the day on Shabbat. And so we have this idea that it was the additional sacrifice, and it's also this idea that we prayed separately from the actual sacrifices. And it's a time now that we sort of feel like we rush through the whole thing, like let's get to Kiddush, let's eat, especially during the year when we have lengthy Bnei Mitzvah. But I want to talk a little bit about what we're actually doing, not just the fact that we're saying a parallel prayer, but what we're doing. So for that, I want us to turn to the Kedusha, which can be found on page 186, I believe, 187. It's only year 1. You don't have the pages memorized yet. Okay, so the first part of the Musaf Kedusha, we say, I'll read it in English, just the first line. We revere and sanctify you on earth as your name is sanctified in heaven, as your prophet Isaiah described. And then we do Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. That is an Ashkenazi tradition. What I want to talk about is the Sephardi tradition, which starts with the word keter or crown, as we're referring to the keter of God. So it says instead, a crown they shall give you, the angels above, together with your people assembled here. So there's 2 parts here. A crown they shall give you. Who's getting the crown here? We are. We're getting this crown of God in this moment of Kedusha, of holiness. The angels above give us the crown. And then God, together with us, the people of Israel, assembled here, go on and say, holy, holy, holy. So we actually have a really special some would say holy, even though I just used that word 5 times. Luckily, Rabbi Witkowski left the room. He won't mention it. That we have this chance to be holy with God. So I want to tell you a Hasidic story that the holy Yehudi of, I'm going to butcher this one, Prizutska, before he would say the Musaf Amidah in this Sephardic Nusach with these Sephardic words starting with Keter, he would go around and say goodbye to everybody in his town, because he thought that when he would say Keter, that he had this chance to be so connected to God, so close to God, that he might actually die from the holiness that is brought upon him. And so every Saturday, he would go around and say goodbye as if he thought he would like reach the ultimate moment of closeness with God because of this Keter Melucha that he would come so close to. That's pretty cool, right? That we could get, I mean, not dying is not cool, but that we could get so close to God in this moment that our holiness sort of transcends itself, and not just our holiness, but everyone around us, and we're in proximity to God. So there's this Hasidic term that this rabbi thought that he would reach, which is called Bitul Hayesh, which is literally emptying oneself of all of our selfhood. In this moment where we are so close to the crown of God, this crown of glory, we reach the highest of the Sfirot, which is Keter, and then we are emptying ourselves of all of our ego, of all of our selfhood, to get so close to God in this moment of addition and holiness and sort of parallelism to what was going on in the temple, that we are as close to God as we can get, maybe not as close to God as we can get when the gates are open on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but every Shabbat we have this opportunity to be so close to the Keter, the crown of God. So with that, let's try it together to get close to God. We won't change our Nusach to Sephardi Nusach today, but we can think of it as we do, as we turn to the Musaf Amidah.